Welcome back to FM Story. We're approaching the midway point of season 15 of this Glory Hunt to Save. The one aim for this season is to win the Europa League with Eintracht Frankfurt. Things have started pretty well towards that aim. We've top of the table after 5 league games in the league phase. We've won 4, drawn 1, only conceded 2 goals. Hopefully we can keep that form going in Europe to try and make it into the top 8 so that we guarantee a place in the last 16 of the Europa League. Unfortunately, our form has dropped off a bit thanks to injuries in the league and domestic cup competitions. So hopefully we can keep storming on in Europe. And without further ado, let's get into the action. We're into January and largely things have gone pretty well since the end of the last episode, but we have seen some changes in personnel throughout the January transfer window, which has caused us to change tactic as well. So in terms of the transfer window, we sold Yutaka Yuma, who was a backup defensive midfielder, for up to 10 million. And unfortunately, Angel Soto, who has been a bit of a star on the left wing, on loan from Man City, has gone back to Man City. They've ended the loan deal because they weren't happy with where he was playing. But we have made 3 additions so far in the January transfer window with about 10 days left to go. Firstly, we've picked up Tom Rota from Man United, formerly of Dortmund. Left back, left wing back, can even play centre half at a push. Still, despite the fact that he's 33, the physicals are still there in terms of the pace, the stamina, and hopefully can be a good addition for us. We then added Marcio Antonio on loan from Arsenal. Really a defender, strong and physical, and we were struggling a bit for depth at times at centre half this season so far. And then we've also added Filippo Grassi on loan from Liverpool. Can play in defensive midfield, can play in centre midfield. The change to the formation has seen us use now a defensive midfielder and a central midfielder as well. So we needed a few extra bodies in the midfielder, but just look at those mentals. 16 for aggression, but 16 for decisions, 20 for determination, 16 for flair. He's 16 for natural fitness, 16 for technique. And he's only 20. Tactically, what we've done is we've gone back to the formation that we had at the end of our time at Juventus that saw us secure that Coppa Italia. 3 at the back, the extra bodies in the centre of midfield. So we've gone away from playing with wingers. We ended the last episode with a 2-1 victory away at Celtic in the Europa League. We followed that up with a 6-1 victory at home against Augsburg. We then got beat 6-4 away from home by Leipzig. We then beat Anderlecht 2-0 in the Europa League. Werder Bremen 3-1 in the league. We got a 95th minute winner to secure a victory away at Bochum in the league. We then drew 4-4 at home against Nuremberg and then won 2-0 away at Cologne. We've got a game coming up against Ligue in the Europa League phase. We've got 2 games left in the Europa League phase. We've got Ligue away from home and Olympia away from home. We are already guaranteed to be in the knockout stages. We are still currently top of the table with 16 points from 6 games. Hopefully we can pick up another victory and secure that top 8 spot so that we skip the knockout playoff round. And as far as the league's concerned, we're up in 3rd with 3 points off the top. Things are going pretty well, but obviously this season the focus is on the Europa League. We are missing Tom Rota, who we signed at the beginning of January. Mauritari is doubtful, but we should still have enough to pick up 3 points away from home. So this is the side we've picked for the game against Ligue. We are playing that 3-5-2 formation. Bianchi is playing, but he is on the verge of leaving the club. 3 clubs have triggered the release clause in his contract. We had actually accepted offers for a figure above his release clause, because the release clause is only available to play to teams in the Champions League. We did accept it to a couple of teams that weren't in Europe at 60 million, but he turned those down. And now there's 3 clubs in for him at 49.5 million, which means that if that gets done soon, we're going to have a few days left to replace him with someone of a similar quality, because Bianchi has been one of the stars of the season so far. So we're going with Antonio, Maticevic and Zeze as the back 3, Silveira and Escudinha as the wing backs, Grassi in front of the back 3, Jinsu and Albarracin in centre midfield, with Bianchi and Kuroga up front, and they're going with a 4-3-3. Right, throw for them deep in their own half. And try to play the way out from the back. And they've managed to get it up to the halfway line pretty easily. And they've got in behind. Silveira tries to nick it. That's been far too easy for them to get the ball down the pitch here. They've still got it. Ernst tips it behind for a corner, but we allowed them to get up the pitch far too easily there. But then Antonio cuts out the corner. Grassi now driving forward, and then goes back to Escudinha. Right, Escudinha with a throw for us. It's going to be a long one. It's cleared away from Antonio. Grassi to Escudinha wide, into the box to Kuroga, who was surely miles offside there, and yeah, he was. Right, Silveira infield, gives it away, and now they're going to break. And again, Silveira goes for the interception, but they've played around him. And put back to the edge of the box. And we're 1-0 down. And you have to say, on what we've seen so far, that's probably pretty deserved. It's been far too easy for them to get the ball and go forward with it, and then just no one anywhere near closing them down on the edge of the box. And he gave Ernst no chance. Right, throw for us. Escudinha with another long throw. Antonio flicks it on. It's headed up in the air. And it's headed down and wide of the post. Right, corner into the box. Just far too easy. This is certainly the worst we've played since we changed the formation. We miss a header. They get a fairly free header on the 6-yard box. And that's 2-0. And there we are, half-time, 2-0 down. I mean, I don't think the match stats really bear a true reflection of that first half, because we've had more shots, we've got higher XG. But they've definitely looked the more threatening team, and we need to be a lot better in the second half. Right, so we made 2 changes at half-time. We've taken off Bianchi and brought on Aran Baru, and we've switched right wing backs and brought Mikic on for Silveira. A corner for us, Escudinha to take it in towards the near post. It's headed up in the air. Grassi, it might have got a deflection there. In fact, it did get a deflection there. It's gone all the way through past the keeper. We've pulled a goal back. That's 2-1. The corner's headed up in the air. Grassi just helps it back towards goal. It takes a big deflection and flies past the keeper. Right, another corner for us. Albarracin to take. Lifts it towards the far post. We had a couple of players get up. Sauter, who's come on at left wing back now, lifts across towards the back post. And he's headed against the post and gone behind. And we're rapidly running out of time to get anything from this game. Maticevic with a free kick at the back. Jinsu just about gets it. Comes back to him. Forward to Aran Baru. Looking to go round the outside on the right. Gets to the byline. Big cross to the back post. It's headed away from Milosevic, and now there's a big gap for them to attack into. And they're surely going to seal victory here. In fact, they've hit the shot straight at the keeper. They should have really punished us there. And there we go, full time, 2-1. A real disappointing performance. And with the other results, we've dropped down to 6th in the league phase there, which means we do need something from that game against Olympia to guarantee ourselves a spot in that top 8. So we go into the last game against Olympia in the Europa League. We could do with a result here to guarantee that we finish in the top 8. We've played one game since that last game against Ligue. We lost, we got hammered 4-0 by St. Pauli in the league. We did pick a fully rotated team so that we had players fresh for this game. Unfortunately, since the Ligue game, Bianchi has completed his move. He's gone to Chelsea for $49.5 million. So we do have 4 days to replace him before the transfer window closes. We have tweaked the formation slightly for this game because I don't feel like we have another out-and-out striker that's good enough to go alongside Quiroga. So we've gone with Contreras in an attacking midfield role behind Quiroga, and hopefully we can pick up a result against a team that are 32nd in the league phase so far. So very little's happened so far. We've got a corner now, Albarracin to take it, in-swing it towards the near post. It's headed up in the air. Matjusevic squares it. Contreras, who's coming to the team, he's been very hit and miss this season so far, but finds the back of the net, puts us 1-0 up, and calms the ship down a little bit. To in-swing a corner to the near post, it's headed straight up in the air. Matjusevic just helps it across the box, and from about the penalty spot, Contreras just smashes it home on his left foot past the keeper. And there we are, half-time 1-0 up, only that one highlight that we've seen, but looking at the match stats, despite the lack of possession we've had, we've certainly dominated in terms of the chances that we've created. Just more of the same in the second half. Make sure we get that victory to finish in the top 8 so that we go into the last 16 in the Europa League. Right, we've not made any changes at half-time. Right, a free kick for them. Swung into the box. And that was far too easy for him to get the header. Luckily, it's not on target. Escudinho with a throw for us. Quiroga. Back to Antonio. Wide. Silvera into Jinsu. Back to Silvera. Squares it. Contreras. Shot's blocked. And they've hit it up to the halfway line. Grassi picks it up. Down the line looking for Silvera, who flicks a header into the box. And it goes straight through to their keeper. Escudinho with a long throw next to the corner flag. They've got a head on it. And now they're breaking away down the left-hand side. And Albarracin's getting himself a red card here because that was a wild lunge. There was no need for it either. And now we've got to do this with 10 men. Right, we've made a change. We brought Mawatari on for Quiroga just to get that extra body back into the midfield. And try and hold on to this 1-0 victory. Right, just a couple of minutes left. We've got to throw in our own half. Escudinho, Grassi back to Escudinho. Marcio Antonio back to Ernst. Matjusevic out to Zeze. The fact that the ball is so close to our own goal suggests we're going to give it away. The way the last couple of games have gone. And back to Ernst, out to Zeze again. Now Silvera. Jinsu over the top. Silvera makes a great run into the box. Pulls it back to Jinsu on the edge of the box. And the keeper makes a great save to turn it behind for a corner. And Contreras to take it. Aims it towards the near post. They've headed it up in the air. And they've headed it away. I think we're going to get a long throw from Escudinho here. Antonio back to Escudinho. Drives to the byline, across the back post. It's headed away from Mawatari. Jinsu finds Zeze. He pulls it back. Escudinha, and now they're going to break. But luckily, it doesn't come to anything. And there we are, full-time, 1-0 victory for us. Guarantees our spot in the top 8, into the last 16. And the quest for the Europa League continues. We've made it to the end of the transfer window, and there's been quite a bit more action in the transfer window. We have played one league game since the Olympia victory. We drew 0-0 at home against Freiburg. In terms of transfers, obviously we said that Bianchi had left to go to Chelsea. Takahashi went to Nice for 9 million, and we sold Yannick Finke, a young player, to Hansa Rostock. Arsenal recalled Kazuki Mawatari from his loan deal, so he left. And then on deadline day, we signed 3 players. Firstly, Guadalupe Iglesias, attacking midfielder. I think there wasn't an awful lot of options in terms of actual centre forwards, so we've gone with players that can play that number 10 role behind Quiroga, and hopefully that'll work for us going forward. Mexican international, previously at Porto and West Ham, and hopefully he can hit the ground running for us. We've then gone and signed a player that we actually signed when we were at Bayern in Tommaso Baldanzi, getting on a bit at 34, but still the physicals are pretty decent, but the mentals and technicals are great. Can play that number 10 role at a push, can play up front as well. He was out of contract in the summer, so we did a deal, agreed a contract with him for next season, and then signed him on deadline day from Valencia. And then another player that was out of contract at the end of the season, João Rego, can play basically anywhere in the midfield or the attacking positions. Again, someone else that can provide depth in that number 10 role, can play wide if we go back to playing wingers as well. And hopefully we've kind of improved the attacking options that we have going into the second half of the season, and in particular going into that Europa League knockout stages. We finished 6th in the league phase. We're into the last 16, and hopefully we can go all the way. But if you look at the teams that are still left, Man City, Inter, Tottenham didn't make it into the top 8. It's going to be a tough task, and we're probably going to have to beat at least one of those two, like at least one of Man City or Inter, if we're going to make it to the final. But hopefully, fingers crossed, we can win the Europa League this season, and that would end the Glory Hunter save. And there we have it, the end of another episode. We're into the second half of season 15 of the Glory Hunter save. We've made it into the knockout stages of the Europa League, and now all that's left for the rest of the season is to see if we can somehow go on and win the whole competition. Join us next time to see how we get on in the last 16. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.